Hi everyone, I feel like I haven't spoken to you all in so long. Wow, summer is in full bloom here. With the solstice so close, the days are very long and hot, while the nights are cool and humid. Life has felt very slow these days. Now that most of my big projects are done, the days have been feeling rather quiet. I have this story in my head that life should be hard and a struggle constantly. And then when things slow down and are quiet and life begins to feel a bit easier, it's almost like I can't enjoy it. My mind has to create a new struggle or a new problem. But as I've been working on letting go of that way of thinking, I've just been like softening into a much calmer way of existing in life, taking my time on things and working a lot slower, which is why it's been a while since I posted a video. But it's felt really healing to just enjoy these first weeks of summer by myself without the camera. I saw this quote the other day that said, "True contentment is not having everything, but in being satisfied with everything you have." And I think that's really beautiful. Okay, so today is Thursday. I have 2 days before the wedding. The wedding's on Saturday. I need to make enough cake for 120 people. It's a lot of people. That's a lot of cake. So today what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna test out another recipe because the last one I made did not turn out that good. I mean, it would have worked, but it wasn't great. So I'm gonna make a different one today. But I'm not making the full-size one until tomorrow, I think. I don't want it to get stale. I wanna really do it kind of last minute, even though doing it last minute is gonna be very stressful. Thing is I'm actually really not the best baker. So, yeah. So I had to order such a big bulk amount of things for these cakes. It took me a while to figure out and calculate how much of everything I would need. And in retrospect, the planning process felt more stressful than actually making everything, just because I really had no idea what I was doing. There were so many things I didn't know how to do. Earlier this week, I was getting all the supplies I needed and watching videos about stacking huge cakes so they don't collapse in on themselves, and then doing multiple test batches of different recipes. The first couple batches I did turned out tasting very good, but the problem was the cakes weren't firming up very well, and I was nervous that when it came to stacking the bigger layers, they would crumble and break. So I had to do another batch after that, which put me a little bit behind schedule. Me and Logan took a trip a couple weeks ago. He was home visiting family, so I met him and we went and traveled around a little bit. Honestly, it was so nice to get away. Lately, I've been feeling just a little bit uninspired and not very creative. And that's a hard feeling to deal with when you have a creative job. I'm still not sure exactly how to navigate that, but something that definitely helped me is going somewhere different for a little bit, and also just taking a break from creating has been helpful for me. Finding new things that inspire me. This trip was so beautiful. We even talked a little bit about moving to a place around here,
which would honestly be like such a dream. I've been craving something new for a long time now, but I haven't done it because I feel a strong fear of change, which is something I've been trying to let go of, but it's definitely scary to make a change in my life, especially when it affects my work as well. So when we got home, there were seriously hundreds of pounds of strawberries ripe and ready to be picked. I decided to make a jam out of them, which would then be the filling in between the layers of the vanilla wedding cake. Also, I started building up the amount of starter I would need. I was making so much bread, so I would need about 10 times the amount of starter that I usually have. So I saw this statistic the other day that said a teenager spends on average 8 hours on a screen per day, and an average adult spends 4 to 5 hours on their phone every day. It's so interesting to me how social media, phones, and technology has completely changed the way we live and interact with the world. The more I slow down and spend multiple days and even weeks in a row away from technology, I've really noticed a shift in myself. The biggest thing is I generally just feel a lot happier and have more gratitude for the life I live. I feel like when we're constantly bombarded with these perfect, beautiful lives on social media, it almost makes us feel like we are lacking something in our own life. But the truth is, we have everything that we need to be whole and complete and happy right now in this moment. Happiness comes from inside of ourselves, and it isn't dependent on anything external. It's almost like when you stop comparing yourself to others, there's less pressure to work yourself into oblivion just so you can spend more money on things that won't actually bring you real happiness. Something I've noticed as well is how much I began to enjoy the smaller moments of life. The things we would otherwise just like not notice become the most like precious parts of my day. Time is basically the only thing in life we can't buy, and I don't want to waste any more of it on my phone. Okay, so I officially have like 24 more hours until these cakes need to be done. It was such an interesting feeling making such a large amount of everything. It reminded me of my days working in a cafe when I would make these like huge soups and salads that would be enough to feed like hundreds of people. I honestly love cooking for other people. My dream of all dreams in life is to one day have like a little retreat center where people can come and we can hike and run around the mountains and jump in glacier water, and I can cook yummy food for people. I think my biggest passion in life is cooking food for other people and just like taking care of people. I would just love to be able to offer my services to others to help people heal and to just feel better in their lives, you know? So if there's anyone out there who would like to invest in this idea, you can definitely reach out to me. So I probably should have left more time for myself to make these cakes. It was the day before, and if I made one mistake, my sister was basically just not gonna have a cake. I did 10 times the recipe I would normally do for this bread. Oh my gosh, kneading this bread was one of the hardest things. I think I sat there for like an hour folding this dough. There was just so much of it. I greatly underestimated how hard this whole process was going to be in general. On top of that, at this point, I was on a pretty significant time limit. Everything just ended up taking a lot longer than I expected. By the end of the day, I was just so exhausted, and then I still had an entire other chocolate cake that I needed to make. And for the chocolate cake, I had actually never made this specific recipe before, which totally freaked me out. I had such a fear that it wasn't going to turn out, and thank God it did, because at that point I was starting to run out of ingredients, and we are an hour from a grocery store, so it would have been like kind of a whole ordeal for me to get to the store. I also just didn't really have any help if things went wrong. Since we're doing this wedding ourselves without any help, everyone in my family had different tasks and things that they were trying to do. Logan was doing the music stuff and setting all of that up. We bought these like huge giant speakers, and Alexa and Christina were doing the flowers as well as making all the things for the food table. My mom was planting all these plants and helping set up the tent and the tables, and Cole and Dad were building this little structure for the lights, and then they were also milling some wood in order to build the altar. So basically everyone was just extremely busy. So I just kind of knew that failing was not an option at that point. That night I went up into the mountains and found some wildflowers to put on some of the tables. I was really excited that the mock orange was in bloom again. Mock orange has the most intoxicating smell. Oh my gosh, it maybe is one of the best smelling flowers I've ever smelled. It's sort of vanilla-y, but just like very, very fragrant. And then the day of the wedding, I was putting together all the cakes and making the frosting. I decided to make a chocolate mousse to go in between the layers of chocolate cake. At one point, my arms were about to give out on me from mixing so much, so I had Logan give me a hand with the final beating of the frosting.
How's it taste?
Perfect. I did half the amount of sugar and I feel like it's perfect. Anything?
That's so...
It's not too cheesy.
That's perfect. Yeah, that's...
Okay, so at this point I had like 2 hours before the wedding and had to get these cakes put together and frosted. This was the part that scared me the most because I had never done this before and it was weird. You had to like put these little dowels in each cake tier, and then you needed like a very long dowel to go through the center to hold all the tiers together. But then there was also cardboard underneath each tier, and I think that was to just keep the cake from collapsing in on itself. But yeah, it was just kind of a whole process to put together the cake. I had no idea what I was getting myself into.
Okay, so I'm frosting the last tier. The wedding is in literally 20 minutes, and this is not done at all. I wanted these tiers to look a little bit, I don't know, better, but I'm running out of time. I'm a little nervous about transporting it. The road is really bumpy. I just have to finish it. I have to leave, is the thing. I have to leave and this is not done. Oh.
You're forgetting who's putting this wedding on. Yes.
Why does that look so bad? Something about that looks just horrible.
Well, because the bottom needs to be refrosted.
Okay, yeah, it really needs a refrosting. Okay, I've officially decided I never want to make a wedding cake again.
Darn.
Well, we're kind of in a rush here.
You seem a little frantic.
Yeah, I'm looking for my lip. Dang.
Your lip?
Oh, here we go.
So how's this whole process been?
Well, I should have given myself more time with everything. Everything was kind of a disaster. Okay, so I made about 7 loaves, and then I think like 15 baguettes. I don't know if it's enough though, because I think there's gonna be like 150 people.
150? Oh.
And a knife.
I didn't end up filming much of the wedding. I was just really enjoying my time, but it was such a beautiful night. Oh my gosh, wow.
That's a big slide. slice.
Looks amazing.
There you go.
Oh!
Here's your flour. There you go.
All right.
What do you have there?
A slice of cake. Well, a circle.
A full reject?
Mm-hmm.
You are eating it like a deli sandwich.
Yeah, I feel like that's the best way to not get crumbles everywhere. You know, when you eat a cake in bed, you know, it's what you should do.